YouTube's Fact YouTube channel. I am back with another review, and sorry for the late release on this one. I've just been distracted playing video games. Sorry. Anyways, the first review for this week is of Elvis, released this year in 2022, starring Austin Butler, Tom Hanks, Darcy Montgomery, and Olivia DeJonge, and it was directed by Baz Luhrmann. Obviously, this is a bioflick, a lot in the same vein as Rocket Man. I was reminded a lot of Rocket Man in this. I liked Rocket Man a bit more than this, but that's also because I just like Elton John a bit more than Elvis. Not saying I hate Elvis. I really do love Elvis, and Elvis has a soft spot for me personally because my grandma, rest in peace, she loved Elvis. She collected a bunch of Elvis memorabilia. So obviously this movie follows the story of his life, and it's a bioflick, and it's directed by Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann is a filmmaker that I've not been the biggest fan of him. The two films of his that I have seen are the Romeo and Juliet, which is fucking insane and does not work. His style does not work in that film, whatever the fuck he's trying to do with that. And then you have the Great Gatsby, which I also think is flawed. Well, this film is probably my favorite out of Baz Luhrmann's films, the ones that I've seen. It relatively is at the same vein of Rocket Man, where it tells the story of Elvis pretty well. And I feel like Baz Luhrmann is the type of director that I'm like, yes, if he's directing a bioflick about Elvis, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because Elvis was a very, showboating person. He had so much effort and showboating into him, and I really did like learning about all this different stuff, like the how dare he, shake his hips or putting it in like that, poisoning the minds of our young. I don't know why I'm British when this takes place in the South, but, I just feel like using a Cockney accent for this. But yeah, I did like exploring that. I did like watching those scenes of the movie. And obviously, Baz Luhrmann has a very specific editing and directing style, which I feel like works out for this. There's a lot of energetic montages of Elvis's songs and dancing, and the cinematography overall in this film I feel like is really well done. It is a really nicely shot film, especially the warmer colors and stuff like that. And they use some of the old footage of Elvis, like most bioflicks do, and it does tug on your heartstrings like most bioflicks. I would say it hits the same levels as other biopics, but comparatively to Rocket Man, it's relatively on the same level as that. I haven't heard good things about Bohemian Rhapsody, but I haven't seen it, so I can't compare it to that. But this one I didn't think was as bad. I really did like hearing about Elvis's story with Tom Parker, played by Tom Hanks, doing whatever the fuck he wants to in this movie. His performance in this is so fucking weird. He's doing a voice that reminds me of fucking Adam Sandler, like, hoo-hoo, and we got to get the Elvis fixed up over there, and yeah, and I don't know if the real Tom Parker talked like that, and the film does try to do an interesting thing by giving it from his perspective, and if you don't know the story behind Tom Parker and Elvis, Tom Parker was his manager and kind of just screwed over Elvis and led him down a darker path eventually, and I feel like using him as a framing device, I feel like makes a lot of sense, but for the most part, this film is you're following Elvis, and then he just shuts in with his narration ever so often. I feel like that does muddle the film a tad bit. I liked learning about Elvis, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I liked seeing that. And props to Austin Butler for putting in a pretty good performance as Elvis. Obviously, he talks in that deep Elvis voice, like, what do you mean right there, and hello there, mama, and it's like, I feel like, I don't know if Elvis actually talked like that, but I feel like he's talking like that for the most of the film, and I feel like obviously that could become very jokey and stuff like that, but for the most part, I feel like it is for the most part taken seriously, and he is 100% dedicated to the performance, which I feel like really does help it. And I really like Elvis music, so I like hearing these songs show up, and all these different montages with good direction and Baz Luhrmann style editing. I will say the film, because most of Baz Luhrmann's films are over 2 hours long, the film is well paced enough. The editing and the direction keeps the energy flowing, and there are serious scenes taken seriously and stuff like that, but due to Baz Luhrmann's energetic direction and style, it really does not make it seem slower. The only reason why I may have thought it was a bit slower was because it stopped and had to load because I streamed this. But I don't feel like it was bad. My only complaints is that the story of this it reaches the standard heights as a bioflick. Obviously, I do not know the real story of Elvis Presley. I don't know how accurate this is, but I think it's relatively accurate. And it will pull on the heartstrings here and there, and make you feel things for that we lost such a icon and this horrible relationship. Tom Hanks is putting in a good performance as Tom Parker. It's just a fucking weird performance, and I can see that because the voice he's doing is fucking insane. But I feel like he was told to do that on purpose, and his performance really does show. You hate him. He's the antagonist for the most part, while Elvis is the protagonist, even though you followed the film by his point of view, which is a strange choice, but I feel like works out for the most part. So yeah, I definitely did enjoy this. It's probably my favorite out of the Baz Luhrmann films I've seen, because I feel like and then there are some scenes where Baz Luhrmann uses like modern pop music, which I don't like seeing in his films. The same thing happened with Great Gatsby and other stuff, so I don't like seeing that kind of stuff, but for the most part, it didn't bother me. I definitely recommend this one. If you are a fan of Elvis and a fan of Baz Luhrmann and biopics, this is a relatively good one. You get to learn about Elvis, the king of rock and roll, and you get to see some good performances with Baz Luhrmann style direction, which isn't bad, but you gotta have him toned back sometimes. But in this, I feel like it matches the style of Elvis. Showboating and spectacle and all that kind of shit. I feel like it really does match with the style of Elvis, so it didn't bother me. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe down below if you want to give me your opinions on the film. I always like to see those. Any requests, make sure you put those in the comment section down below for movies that you want me to review in the future. And please let me know if you want me to do a rating system. I'm just going to keep mentioning that. And then, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.